Yo, and we have another video for you guys, and it's about Salt-N-Pepa's lawsuit against Universal. Yeah, it's a bit weird. I don't say it's a bit weird. It's like they signed a really bad record deal at the beginning. You can tell they didn't know what they were in for down the line, and it's come to bite them in the ass as time has gone by. So a U.S. District Court judge ruled what's this doo doo? No, check this out. This is even written properly. U.S. District Court judge ruled the doo doo. I think it meant to be duo. Do not have the rights to reclaim ownership of their masters. Like, this is making me laugh. If you read this stuff, it's hilarious. Like, it's right, but they haven't proofread it. Last year, Salt-N-Pepa, Cheryl Salt, James, and Sandra Pepper Deaton filed a suit against Universal Music Group (UMG) over the rights to their catalog, claiming that the label had pulled the duo's song from streaming platforms after they attempted to regain control of their masters. Lawyers for UMG subsequently filed a motion to dismiss the lawsuit, and today, Thursday, January 8th, well, it's a bit late, it's not January, a judge in New York Southern District Court ruled in their favor. Boy, it's crazy, man. You're trying to go up against Universal? They'll spank your ass, man. You can't go to, you're going up against the record company, man. They have like infinite money. Small label maybe, but big label, you're going against Sony, you're doomed. You're going against Universal, you're doomed. You're going against Warner Music, you're doomed. You can't win against these guys, man. You can never win against them. James and Deaton, Salt-N-Pepa, former DJ Spinderella, was not party to the complaint, based their claim on the determination rights outlined in Section 203 of the Copyright Act of 1976, which allowed artists to reclaim the copyrights of their masters' recordings after several decades. However, in a copy of their decision obtained by Pitchfork, U.S. District Judge Denise Colt finds that Salt-N-Pepa never owned their masters to begin with. Oh no, they're good, man. They stitch these people up. They stitch them up real good. But they're trying to get they never owned it in the beginning. So basically, they thought that they thought the label owned the rights, and they thought they owned it, and they thought that it would revert back to them over maybe 40 years or so, 30-40 years, and it would just, that's like, sometimes you got something like, I'll explain this, like, let's say Mickey Mouse, a certain design of Mickey Mouse. After a while, yeah, that copyright will expire, and then it will become public domain. That's why you have all these weird Mickey Mouse type, movies going around, because the character became public domain, or at least that version of the character. But that's when the rights expire, and they thought there's a version of it for music as well, which they were using, trying to say that, oh, the copyright should revert back to us. But they're like, you never owned it in the first place for it to be reverted back to you. They're sitting down there, they got us. This is hilarious. The group had originally granted ownership to their first label, Noise in the Attic Productions, and were not included in the contract that transferred those rights to UMG, predecessor Next Plateau Records, in 1986. Well, this is why you need a good lawyer, man, to read over everything, because like, after a while, man, you end up in a situation like this. And it's not just like this was like maybe 80s, and they were getting stiffed for the royalties and the copyright of their music. Nah, it's happening to this day. Like, you have artists in situations where they have to buy their way out of label situations, or out of contracts. You know where I'm coming from. In a statement to Pitchfork, UMG spokesperson wrote, "While we are grateful that the court dismissed the baseless lawsuit, it should never have been brought in the first place. Prior to this suit, and without any legal obligation to do so, we made multiple attempts to resolve the matter amicably, improve the artists on compensation, and ensure that Salt-N-Pepa fans had access to their music. Looked like behind the scene they were trying to iron out some sort of like deal where they get a little bit more money from the streams, but it looked like they just wanted all of it for themselves. And it may be that's what shot them in the foot, where by trying to do that, they lost any leverage they had where they can iron out a deal with the label later on, seeing as they now try to sue them in a lawsuit. Even with the court's complete rejection of their complaints, we remain open and willing to find a resolution. Oh, I was wrong back then. They remain open. But this is a joke. Or they said, well, we remain open to find a resolution to the matter and turn the pages so we can focus on our efforts on working together to amplify Salt-N-Pepa's legacy for generations to come. They'll give them some money, but they'll be like, what you was asked for before, we could give you lower. They're like, what? Yeah, you tried to sue us. This is what you get. Remind me of a movie like, you give them the papers like. I can't remember what movie it is, but it's hilarious. Like, once this guy's reputation is rubbish, he's like, can I get the money? He's like, nah. You see the paper, there's like zero money there. It's like, this is your compensation, zero. We respectfully disagree with the court. Salt-N-Pepa said, we respectfully disagree with the court's decision and fully intend to pursue our rights and appeal. Salt-N-Pepa wrote in the response to dismissal, we remain committed to vindicating and reclaiming our rights as creators under the Copyright Act. But you didn't own it in the first place. That's the joke of it all. You didn't own it in the first place. Ah, dear. I mean, look, man, they had some hits, and it's a shame now that, you know, we live in an era of streaming, and I don't think that they're getting as much money as they used to. So they're trying to go through to streaming to get more money through that. But we're in a digital age, and a lot of these label contracts, they were done in the 80s, isn't it? So they weren't really looking future-wise of, oh yeah, in the future people will stream music for, not for free, but yeah, kind of for free. They're not looking at it. They ain't thinking about MP3 players back in the 80s. They're thinking about tapes and CDs. And even CDs was like futuristic back then. You had like records and tapes. In the 90s and the 2000s, it was like CDs. And then it was MP3 players. Now it's streaming. So each time there's a new development in how music is being consumed, and you need to adjust your record contract to that. But that's not the case with this. The fact that they tried to do what they were doing is that they thought they owned the rights to their music, and embarrassingly enough, they didn't own the rights. So they're looking red-faced now that they don't own the rights to their music in the first place. So they thought it was going to revert back to them. So they're like, well, we want it back. It's like, you never owned it. So they're looking stupid. Anyway, like, subscribe, and I'm out.